Hi guys, I'm Seb. Did I do it well?
No, you got that completely wrong. But hi guys, I'm Shmee. Welcome to the Shmuseum.
This is awesome. Good to see you.
You too.
You well?
Very well. It's been a while. It's been too long.
It's been a very long time since we've seen each other as friends, but then also on YouTube. And last time we were in a different garage and you had a lot of cars already back then, but nowhere near what I'm seeing right now. This is my first time ever here in the Shmuseum.
Yep.
Said it right. And I thought it would just be cool. We haven't really, planned that much. We literally just exchanged a couple of messages and I said I'd come over and explore, the Shmuseum, the cars in here. You're going to take me around, give me all the details, but this is so sick.
Just over a year.
Okay.
But this is the main hall. There's another hall.
Yes.
So we're going to go and check that out as well. I mean, things have evolved. Last update, like you said, my cars were in a storage place and I had cars scattered around in different locations. And at that point, I actually had 7 cars. And even that meant I had cars in 3 different places or whatever. And it was that kind of, if I want to film a video or go for a drive in something, it's never in the right place.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to have my own location. And I have plenty of things that I still want to do. So we'll have to touch on the future plans a bit as well. But this came up and it was like, right, I'd been looking for years, finally found somewhere. And
it's ideal.
Yeah, and I know that you've seen, I think, 5 of the cars that are here.
Yeah.
So out of the 7 cars I owned back then, it's amazing that I still own 5
You still own 5 of them, yeah.
That's actually really quite cool, even for me. But my collection, I think, is in 20-something, nearing 25 cars in total.
Is that what it is now?
And there are a few that are missing.
My first thing when I arrived here, we first met when you had 1 car, which is that car, which we'll get onto.
It was the only car I owned.
It was the only car, and started making videos. And just before we started filming this, we were like, can you imagine if someone would have shown us this back then?
11 years ago.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing,
Yeah,
11 years ago. And I mean, over the years, you've seen a number of the cars, obviously, at different things. And we've filmed plenty of things, like road trips with the 650S and the M4, and
That was good
LT
fun.
and FF and all that stuff.
We went for the collection of the LT, specking of the LT.
Funny thing, the FF, stayed at the hotel that we went to in the FF in Strasbourg, again, quite recently.
Oh, really?
I was like, I remember when I had the FF part right here.
That
when
was
we had
so
come down,
cool.
we bought it, literally bought it,
Yeah.
hopped in the car, picked up the LT at McLaren Manchester, which we shipped to Germany,
Yeah.
jumped in the FF, drove over to meet it, and then day 1 in the 675 LT on Cup 2s in the snow.
Yeah,
good
many
plan.
of these. They're all still on YouTube. All these videos are still there if you want to go see them. I was 6 years old back then.
But we had no idea. And even the trip back with the Z4 and the Mini down in Monaco.
Yeah.
I spent a month in Monaco in 2012.
Yeah.
Rented an apartment space down there.
Yeah, shall we start here?
Let's start with this car, because this car is, anybody who knows my channel and the Shmee on 50 stuff knows that we nicknamed the cars the Shmee-mobiles.
Yeah.
This was the first car I ever called the Shmee-mobile. And in fact, it was driving this car back then was the first time I ever made a video talking to camera, was driving in here. So the first clip of me ever on YouTube, like myself, was driving this car.
Yeah, I remember. This is how I saw a video of you, and then we exchanged messages, and we met in Monaco, and it was around this car.
I told you I'm coming down with it.
Yeah.
Because it was the first time I did a road trip like that, sharing videos. It wasn't the first time I'd ever done a road trip, but it was the first time I'd ever done a vlog.
Yeah.
I called it Adventures in the Shmee-mobile, driving via Paris, picked up Alex Smolik.
Yes.
And then continued down towards the south of France. We met up and did a whole load of car spotting and stuff. And I mean, I felt like I was living in some weird dream world. I had no idea how that was possible to be driving this car, but
it was the coolest thing. I remember when I saw this, and I was like, I know someone who owns an Aston Martin. It was so sick.
Well, I then sold it in June 2012, just before the big month in Monaco. Yeah. But I completely randomly, while I was looking for the car actually found me last summer.
Okay.
And I say that because the then owner took it to an event saying whose car it was on a piece of paper in the window, or whose former car it had been. And somebody else reached out to me saying
with a photo.
That was yours. Yeah. The slightly funny thing is that it actually said this car was previously owned by Tim Burton. I think he thought the director Tim Burton, not me. Anyway, managed to track down the car itself, made contact, went to drove it. He saw how much I enjoyed driving it again and said if I wanted it, here's the price, and I said done.
Amazing. And then you've done some work to it since, right?
Had it completely redone, up to McGurk. You know, with something like this, it's such a personal thing.
Yeah.
Like there's no, it's not necessarily about the outright price. Yeah. It's about, this was my old car.
Yeah.
So whatever state it was in, I was going to buy it, but it needed a massive amount of overhaul.
Okay.
Little oil leak, bits that just needed
Especially because
replacing.
you're very
I wanna keep it in
OCD
good
with your
shape.
cars.
You know, I'm never going to sell it again, right? So I'm
Yeah.
going to have it forever and notice it's even got the same plate back on it. I
Yeah,
had
so
that then.
because this is kind of like your flagship plate. in
Yeah,
a
it was
way, right?
always the plate on the Schmeemobile,
Yeah.
should we say. I've always loved it. I was born in '87, TB are my initials, and it's kind of symmetrical.
Yeah,
if you
no,
imagine
it is
back
very
and forth. So mathematically, it's very pleasing.
Yes.
You know, it's like,
yeah.
it's a
It
really
is
nice
good.
plate.
And because you've done the interior and everything. Or-
Yeah, it's been made into a really proper condition, good car. But it had to be.
I didn't think I'd ever see this again.
No, well, I didn't either for a long
Yeah.
time. I didn't see it for 9 years,
So cool.
which is crazy.
We'll go through all the cars, but also just quickly, this is really nice what you've done with all the posters
Yeah,
behind here.
these big like banners, tapestries hanging up. I went for a mix of brands that I have lots of cars from, or you know, some kind of connection to. Favorite racing drivers, so
Okay.
Hamilton, Schumacher, and Senna.
Yeah.
And just things that connect, like
Yeah.
Ford, 1966. Just fun things. The Nürburgring's been so long there, so I think that kind of thing adds so much personality and character to a garage.
Yeah.
It's actually
Yeah,
like
definitely.
the cheapest, easiest way to make a space
Yeah.
more your own.
Because you need to, it's when you see it in video, I've seen a lot of photos and videos here, it feels big in those, but when you come in here, it's massive.
Oh, this space is huge.
And you need to fill that out somehow. I mean, it's starting here behind us, we'll show that in a bit. but-
including the whole lot. It's a big old space. People
huge.
don't realize, and you're not the first person who's come
Yeah.
in and said, "Whoa, I had no idea," because cameras make it look way smaller.
Well,
I mean,
even for example, the distance between the
Oh, yeah, it
two
doesn't need
lines
to
of
be so
cars,
big.
yeah, it doesn't need to be this big, and yeah, you could easily fit a third row. Yeah.
yeah, you could pull these ones forward a meter or two and have a third row of cars down the back.
Let's do cars, and then there's so many things to talk about.
Because there's also all the games and
Yeah.
toys and silly stuff.
This may be a long video. Yeah.
Obviously, you've seen and have you been in the GT? You've certainly been.
I haven't been in the GT, but I mean, I love this car.
So this was kind of a unintentional planned double pairing when they arrived a day apart.
Yeah, I remember
at the
that.
end of 2018. Literally, I took delivery of them one day after the other. I parked the Ford GT up in the garage at 9 p.m. and at 9 a.m. left to go and collect the Senna.
One of the most outrageous 24 hours
I
on
did not
car
know
YouTube.
what was going on. I did not have a clue what was going on in my own life.
The paint on this is beautiful.
Yes, it's called Liquid Red, multi-layer red. And then I did the bespoke Alan Mann Racing gold stripes because back in the 1960s, Alan Mann Racing was a British race team running the GT40s.
Right.
And they actually did really very well. They were very successful. And they had a huge driver lineup. People like Jackie Hicks, Jackie Stewart, Bruce McLaren, like loads of big names racing for them. And I reached out to Henry and Tom Mann, sons of the late Alan Mann, to ask them if I could do the car as a tribute. And they actually provided me with some samples of the paint. So
Very
those
cool.
samples went direct to Ford to do this. which
So
is really
a lot of sentimental value. on
this car has so much sentimental value.
This will forever be here, right?
Like,
Hopefully.
quick summary. First factory car with bespoke painted stripes.
Right.
Number 80 of 80 of the first batch European cars before the new ones with OPFs and stuff. So like,
And that makes a big difference. We spoke about this a lot.
sounds better,
yeah.
goes better, yeah. Only one, I believe, in the world with OEM bespoke stitching inside.
Oh,
so I had
really?
factory red and gold stripe stitching on the seats and steering wheel, direct from Sparco who make the interior. And the same with the shift paddles in gold. There's no other car.
So this is a complete one of one.
Yeah, and I took it to the US and
Yeah, that
it's
was
like-
so cool when you took it and road tripped it around
Yeah,
the
so
US.
that for me, this is my like really special one.
Yeah.
I'm not going to drive it that much going forwards because it's too special and valuable and whatnot. But
Yeah.
it's done 8,000 miles. I've driven it, I think, on 10 different racetracks.
It must be one of the higher mileage GTs.
Well, somebody recently auctioned, but it didn't sell, a 50,000 mile car. A 50,000 mile new Ford GT. It didn't hit reserve, unfortunately, so it was hard to gauge what the price of that would be. But
Yeah, I mean, that's
Crazy.
niche though. Okay.
Then
This
Senna,
we
obviously,
actually
no.
did, I think we did a full video, we did on the French channel, I'm not sure on the English channel, but
Yeah,
this
you-
still looks amazing.
you came out for a ride with me in it when it was brand new and probably only had 500 miles on the clock
Yeah.
or something,
Yeah.
which is mad to think of now. 4,000 now. I know it's not loads, but with a car like this, you don't just jump in it and drive it
Yeah.
100 miles, go somewhere boring. You only drive it if you're doing something exciting.
Short distances, yeah.
And I've had this all across Europe in different places. Pretty much all the cars here have driven the Nürburgring, like nearly every car.
So cool. I've never driven the Nürburgring. Never.
Well, there we go. We've got
That's going to be a
plans for the
video
future.
soon, yeah.
But yeah, Senna is, when it comes to track driving, is just ballistic. And talking of cars that aren't here, my latest acquisition is the Zenvo.
Yes.
Which is obviously these on even more steroids because it's just like dramatic overload. That's actually at the factory at the moment, just having some final like tweaks and things done to the mapping and before it comes back here because it's never yet been here.
And but you've already done quite a few miles, no?
I've done about 1,000 kilometers. So I
wow.
took delivery of it in Denmark, drove it to Copenhagen and back, shipped it down to Croatia to take part in the Supercar Owners Circle event. Then after that, having driven it for a week or so, sent it back to the factory to do a few final fixes and stuff.
I did a school internship when I was 13 or 14 at the Zenvo factory.
I think I did know that, but I've forgotten
Did you?
it.
So I was there for a week, like making coffee, going around, like doing everything they needed me to do.
Like 2 years ago.
Yeah, this was only about 6 months ago. I just got back, yeah.
Okay.
But yes, and I never experienced one of the cars while I was doing this internship. So when it's back here, I'll come back.
Come and enjoy it properly.
This, by the way, can I just say how hilarious the carbon...
Number plate plinth.
Oh, I just left a little...
The dust line.
Sorry.
Cars.
Oopsie, sorry. This is beautiful. The
Yeah,
paint
so
on this.
We go from crazy to a different kind of crazy, right? The STO, Super Trofeo, Omologato, crazy loud V10, silly thing in so many ways. It doesn't make much sense, but that's a Lamborghini, right?
Yeah.
It's loud, it's brash, it's in your face. And it's funny because so many people get really riled up by the color scheme. Like really riled up.
I think I saw this online. It was when you added the
when
yellow.
I added the yellow, it's amazing how much people get like bothered by it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you were going to spec a Lamborghini to make a splash online and
Yeah.
brighten thumbnails and stuff, duh.
Yeah, of course. No, this is it. I mean, the paint is amazing. So this is wrapped, right?
Yeah, the purple's painted because they, at the time, this was quite an early car, you couldn't get the
Oh,
contrast.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, they
So you've done it like the original contrast
like it would be painted.
scheme. Okay.
but yeah, with the option to go back. A few cars have random wrapped bits here and there.
And how come why an extra plates
Oh, I
there?
just need to change it because there's something wrong with the quote on this
Oh,
one.
okay.
But I might be about to sell it. I don't know.
So is this one that could potentially...
I don't know.
You don't
at the
know.
moment.
You'll
I
see,
don't know.
yeah.
We'll see. Maybe by the time the video goes out, it's
Yeah.
gone or something. That will confuse everyone. Now, given we referenced the FF earlier, I had
Yeah.
a GTC4 Lusso V12.
Okay.
I had one. So I had the FF for 2 years, sold it. A year later, bought a Lusso, had that for 2 years, sold it, and a year later, bought another Lusso.
How come? Why the change?
Because you can't live without a Ferrari V12 in a car collection.
I really struggle without mine. I've never had one. But there you go. But yeah, these are very cool. I remember us getting the FF. That was one of the cars I have the best memories in. That was such a great car. It's a really nice spec. What blue
Yeah,
is
so
it?
I bought this car on the spec. When I saw this for sale, it was like done. It's called Blue Pozzi, which is named after Pozzi Ferrari, which is the dealer in Paris.
Yeah.
They used to run race cars in this color back in time. But the interior is the exact same color as my SF90. This is random though.
This is awesome.
This is really awesome. So this belongs to Max Cooper, founder of Gumball
Hence
3000.
the
Yep.
Gumball 3000.
It is an XJ220S. There were 6 original XJ220Ss, then there were 3 that were converted a few years after. So this was delivered as an XJ220, and then it was upgraded to S specification.
Okay.
But it has high 600s horsepower. It's only about 1,200 kilos.
Proper animal, really rare. These must be worth a fortune now.
Oh, it's a good $500,000 or so.
Oh, wow.
Just crazy thing. Anyway, Max wanted somewhere to
huge.
store it, and I was like, yeah, we'll have it.
It's massive. Like
so-
to walk, that's a proper...
Oh, it's probably the
Walk.
longest car here. It's like 5 meters something long. It's huge, and it makes the Lusso look tiny, which is normally a very,
Yeah.
very long car.
But he's had this for a long time, Max.
Yeah, this has done gumballs 20 years ago. We come over to the lift side. I got these Benpack auto stackers, and I might have put a lot in very quickly, so that's why they're all down right now. So wait, cars that aren't here quickly. Zenvo's out, obviously.
Yeah.
My Shelby GT500 Mustang. I
Right.
bought in America, drove 12,000 miles around the US, did gumball in it this year, and now it's on a boat on the way here.
Okay.
So that's going to be cool. Lime
Okay,
green.
Very cool.
AMG GT Black Series
Yes.
has gone the other way. It's in Florida at the
I would
moment.
love to see that.
I'm soon heading out to go and do a tour across the US and back with it, which will be really cool. Clio V6, recently purchased a Clio V6. My first car, which we'll talk about on the other side,
Those
was a
are
Clio.
awesome.
Yeah, so I bought a V6. We've been doing it up, really nearly finished. That's super exciting. And the other car that's not here is a Mercedes-Benz E500, which
Okay.
we use as a bit of a tow car to tow the Clio around.
Yeah, which I was telling Tim earlier, you are aware that car rentals do exist, and you're like, no,
You just-
buy it.
It's fun.
Figure out a way
It's
to buy
fun.
it.
It's an E500. It's a 5-litre V8 from 2003.
Very
you know?
cool.
Come on, like, just go with it.
So the lifts, you just press a button and
Yeah,
up
it's
it
like
goes,
the easiest thing. I can't do it right now because we'll set alarms off.
No,
left,
no,
right,
no,
and
of
centre.
course. Yeah.
Yeah,
This is really
these are super
classy.
easy. Yeah, this is very classy. I have to be honest, it's probably about to go because I just need to clear up some stuff, and there are a few other cars I want to buy, and
But what made you buy this?
it's so cool.
Yeah.
One of 5 or 6 in midnight blue. That's
It's
DBSs.
kind of, no, it isn't. It's much more, I was going to say it's a similar-ish to the
No, it's
Lusso,
more
but it's
pearlescent.
much more clear, yeah.
I just decided to, it's always been one of the cars I wanted to own for a bit. So
Yeah.
back when I owned that original V8 Vantage,
Yeah.
I dreamt of upgrading it to a DBS, couldn't afford one at the time. went down a different path in the end. And I always wanted to know what this would be like to own. I've owned it now. I've done a road trip with it, took it across Germany, I've done a couple of thousand miles.
And it's an auto or a manual?
This is an auto.
Okay.
This is an auto. It's really funny though, in the UK market, these are way cheaper than other regions. Like, this is a, let's say, high 70,000s car here in pounds. But in the US, it would be $120,000. In Germany, it'd be 110,000 euros.
I feel like there's a lot of hype coming around these again.
Yeah, I don't know why they're so soft here in the UK, but at that price, current market price, if I was going to advertise these two cars, that would actually be more than that.
No way.
That Focus
Because
RS
this
would
is
have a higher
a Heritage. Yeah?
Yes,
Okay.
but just from a, like, get your head around that point of view, a V12
it's
Aston
pretty
Martin
nuts.
is cheaper than a Ford Focus.
Yeah.
All
Can I
50.
stand on these?
Yeah, of course. All of these are the same color, teeth orange. Slight power upgrade from the standard Focus RS, 375 horsepower. Fun thing that connects to the Ford GT though, is that Alan Mann Racing, back in 1968, used to run the Escort Mark 1s. The Focus is the, let's say, spiritual successor of the Escorts, right? This was introduced as the tribute in 2018 for the 50th anniversary of the Escort Mark 1, which was launched in this color. Right?
Okay.
So 50 years later, 50 cars.
Yeah.
Guess who won the British Touring Car Championship in 1968 in a red and gold?
Alan.
Yeah, Alan Mann Racing. So to me, it's like, this is a pair.
Yeah.
This is like, these are together.
So this will stay.
Yeah, I couldn't like not.
And I guess this compared to, in terms of maintenance costs and
Oh, it's
everything.
easy.
Yeah, it's
Pops
easy
to a Ford
compared
dealer
to the
every
others.
year for a couple hundred quid.
And off you
done.
go.
Bosh.
Because like something like the DVS is
Yeah, much
different
more
kettle
goes
of
wrong
fish.
and it costs a lot more money to fix it when it does.
Yeah.
C63 Black Series. Do you know, a lot of people come here and they actually run straight to this. W204 generation C63. A surprising number of people go like, that's my
It has a
holy grail.
huge fan base, this
Yes,
car.
huge fan base. This car needs some work, I'm not going to lie. I bought a car that's not necessarily perfect, it needs some paint. I'd like these to be back to factory silver and stuff. I've just not done it yet. It's something to work on in future.
This was all carbon, they were all originally with all the carbon around? Or?
That's an optional package. They sold the Aero kit for a whole lot of money and not very many people bought it. So an Aero kit C63 Black Series
is worth
like,
a lot more.
Yeah. Like, I think in the UK there were maybe 33 originals and only 15 had the Aero kit, something like that. So it's one of not very many.
And the Aero kit is what? So these, the wing?
The big wing at the back and the carbon flicks around the side. But it's not just like sticking a wing on the back. It's a different boot lid. It's a whole different thing. So an Aero kit car is like worth it because it costs more than the 20 grand it cost originally to do the Aero kit now. This is the very, very last Elise Cup 250 final edition. Belongs to a friend of mine. He allowed me to collect it. He's allowed me to drive it. He's allowed quite a few people to drive it.
Yeah.
And in 4 months, it's done 11,000 miles.
Nuts.
In a car that's not very fun to drive for a long distance.
For a long distance.
Beyond the obvious, what it is, the colour. The colour is called Luminous Orange. It is a 14-layer paint that came at vast expense. Yes, 14 layers. It is RAL 2005, which is so bright in some countries it's illegal to display on television. Obviously, the number plate, I'm just going to have to say, is like so perfect for the final.
Yeah.
At least
Very
250. Like, fine. You couldn't get better. The idea with it though is when a colour is this bright and vibrant, it fades whatever you do. Park this outside for a day and it will fade.
Wow. Okay.
It's been used, it's been outside, and it's already starting to fade, but the owner sees it as like a patina. Like when
so
it's
that's
going to be
part of the
weird and blotchy
character.
and faded, that's the story of the car.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, well, that's exactly what you need. You need an owner like that will use it, will see that, because or else it's just a car you'd never take out.
He's somebody I met like a decade ago on a tour of hypercars back then, driving cars, getting out there, and we've done many drives actually over the years since.
Yeah.
And some really cool stuff.
So he's got some.
He's got some
other
nice
cars,
toys, some really nice toys, and he's an amazing guy. And he said, "Have some fun with it, guys." So
Very cool.
It lives here, which is I'm not complaining.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Like,
this is the world's loudest car.
it's pretty silly loud from factory, stock exhaust.
Yeah.
Aston GT8, one of 150. I actually bought this because of it being the last one of those. You know, having that being
so
the
you have your
first.
first Schmeemobile and then the
This
last
was
ever.
the final edition V8 Vantage that they made. They only made a few of them. Manual gearbox, naturally aspirated engine.
Very cool spec as well.
Silly, overpriced, whatever, but amazing.
Have they held their value pretty well?
It's down slightly on what it costs new, but like a few percent. Not
But
a big deal.
it's cool to see how many have a story. You haven't just gone out and bought the cars for the sake of it. There's a story behind pretty much every single one.
I care so much more about cars having a reason. It's never, even the specs, every spec has a choice, or even more than I'm perhaps saying now behind it. I feel like you can just walk into a dealer and buy a car, right? Just on a whim. But for me, if you've got a reason for it, you have so much more connection with it. And especially in the videos I share, people see why they see what the reason and everything behind it was.
And that's probably also why you're left with so many. It's because when you've got a story, you can't sell them.
No.
Yeah.
Something like the SLS. I bought this 2.5 years ago, a month before the world shut down in 2020. And at first I was massively like, oh dear, what have I done?
Yeah.
What have I done buying a really expensive car right before a massive economic crisis? And then I resprayed it, and then I upgraded it, and then I drove it loads. Value-wise, might not have been the smartest. However, same story again. The SLS Black Series was one of my dream cars prior to that. The first time I drove one, I guess 6 years ago or so, I was just like, this is like the car that I want to buy. I mean, the other cars on my dream cars list are all perhaps currently out of budget, Carrera GT, F50, then this.
But these have been flying.
Well,
and
the
I think they
lucky
will
thing for
keep
me is
flying.
it's now worth double what I paid.
Yeah.
Easy, if not more than double,
Yeah.
perhaps, which is super cool. I've had to do a lot of work on it because I've driven it a lot of miles and kilometers at high speed, Autobahn, Nürburgring, etc. We just had a full 5-figure engine, top-end rebuild, and loads of new parts and things that were needed. But
does it make it easier for you to justify that, knowing that it's also just gone up so much?
Massively.
Price,
I think if you get a bill for 10 to 20 grand to fix some stuff, it hurts always. Let's be real. But when you know that the car is worth a big 6-figure sum more, it's like okay,
I'll put it in, but then
I'm investing in my asset basically.
Because how many were made?
350. It's not a lot.
That's all.
Really
so it's
not a
left
lot.
and drive.
Yeah, I imported this car from Germany, and to be honest, out of the 25,000 kilometers I've done with it, 15,000 miles, probably 90% of them have been on the continent.
Yeah.
So for me, a left-hand drive car has actually been
sense.
perfect.
And is this a keeper?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, oh gosh, I'm not going to try and point out like which cars are keepers.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not going to sell my first Shmee-mobile. SLS 4 GT would never go anywhere. GT8 LT probably. Others for sure, but one
those
step
are
at
the
a time.
main, very close. Yeah.
Two more, quite different cars.
I mean, is this the only one with an electric? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
The only. Yeah.
When this car was launched, I initially ordered one.
Yeah.
So I think it was 2019.
Yeah.
Similar story. We got to 2020, world's blowing up, and I'm like, let's put it on ice and see what happens. When I drove one for the first time, this was one of the few times I've instantly said, I have to have one. I normally buy cars unseen, unexperienced, when they've been released, order a car. This was like, I drove it and I was like, this thing is phenomenal.
It's so fast.
You've driven one?
Yeah, I was lucky to drive one,
Silly fast. But it's also, and this is what most cars get wrong, as well as being fancy, whatever, it's really nice to drive. You can just jump in it and drive it, and I actually commute in it. I drive it to and from home to here, and I love it.
Do you use the electric?
Yeah, every day.
Yeah.
Every day it's charged up. So the last tank I did, if you measure it out, average it out, whatever, because of the electric charging, I did about 30 mpg, which for comparison is more than I'll get in my Focus RS in a 1,000 horsepower
It's
Ferrari.
nuts.
Because I'm charging. And
if you use the electric, because you're not having to drive it all the time, so you can afford to charge
so
it
because
up
I do short hops and I charge it up each time in between.
Yeah.
MPG
I
is
thought
crazy high.
we did a video not too long ago in the 296.
Yes.
And same thing. I thought amazing if you can just whack it into electric, drive around, do your thing, and then when you want, it's just unbelievably fast.
I'm a bit carried away on that because I've ordered a 296 GTS as well.
Oh yeah, but I think they're fantastic. I think they're so cool. Right. Sorry, the issue we've had here is the batteries of the camera can't last as long as we're chatting.
Sorry.
But anyway, there's still
we
so
go
much
from
to see.
SF90 to van.
So I have to admit, I was a little bit surprised by this. I think it's very cool, but I wasn't expecting to see it.
This is actually a long-term loan car that we have here at the barn. It's a Ford Transit Custom from MSRT, which basically means you take your 185 horsepower Transit, give it cool-looking bumpers, give it a V8 sound.
Yes, I heard that.
Because there's a switch and there's a speaker installed at the back. It's called the Max Source. Tom's kind of team car. And then we also have as a team car the Cupra Born fully electric car. So we say only electrified car I own, but that's full electric. I've owned a few electric cars. My Taycan, I had a long-term Mini Cooper. Range was a problem. This is somewhere in the middle. It's not as big and unnecessary as a Taycan, but at least you've got 300 miles of range or so.
It looks pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
I like the rims. This is all obviously for range, right? The wheel design.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of that kind of thing, but we work with C-Tech, so I've got the dual charger over there, ChargeStorm connected to, which is super convenient. So we can charge up really fast here.
Okay.
We've got full 3-phase electricity, so car like this charges up in a couple of hours.
Oh wow! And you could put that anywhere, or do you need a specific setup?
No, it has to be mounted, wired into the electrics, but we put it right here just so we've got the two bays effectively right in front of the entrance.
Very cool.
Which makes it quite easy.
So this is the office.
The temporary office until that's the office.
Because have you revealed kind of what you're going to do?
Yeah, I've talked a bit about this. Let me give a like whistle-stop rundown. With so many cars that are like racetrack track cars, the theme is to make this like a motorsport venue.
Right.
So the idea is picture that you have your racetrack coming through the middle,
okay.
and this is like your grandstand. So we're going to have the glass office spaces like here, lounge space, office, more offices upstairs, and that will be like your VIP hospitality.
Okay,
so
you
come
come
through
in
the glass, and then where the SF90 is, not where the van is what we're calling the halo space. So that'll be nicely illuminated and look really cool up the racetrack.
It's such a kid's kind of dream.
Oh, well, the kids' dream stuff is over there. And in here. In here, the carpet.
Yeah, the carpet's very cool.
Who doesn't have one of these when they're a kid?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I had one growing up. I had one of these.
And then Lego. You know, I've been collecting Lego for a while. I have pretty much every Lego model car that they've made. Actually now super exciting. I get to work with Lego as well and done some cool projects.
Yeah.
Also, but just at the moment, some things on display like the F1 car.
Yeah.
Which is FW19 Williams. Last year they won the championship. I have the show car #1 from that year, which is currently out being painted and having some stuff done. But that model is signed by Jacques Villeneuve.
I saw that video and I thought that was the coolest thing, that you had an F1 car in here.
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
It was a crazy story. Didn't really know what was happening. And then just other things on display like model cars and some of the model cars we've made of my cars and stuff.
Yeah.
Just cool
there's
things.
not too much light, so hopefully you guys could see a bit of that. But okay, very cool. So this is, temporary kind of
just
setup.
Squeeze up this way. We recently set up
this
a Carrera
awesome.
track, which has been the consumer of many hours, shall we say, late into the evening.
And you're going to keep this, so this kind of stuff you're going to leave in this area of the...
This is the kind of chill area, like the Twin Arcade Sega Rally. I mean, I remember obviously as a kid,
These work?
Yeah, or not right at the second.
Yeah.
It needs to be plugged in and reconfigured, but they do work. It can be brought back to life. This was in some arcade somewhere. It's been beaten up and bashed and bruised, but...
Yeah, that's part of the character.
Part of what it is, I wouldn't mind a few more arcades. These have actually flown up in value.
Yeah, I can imagine.
When I bought this, I guess it was about 2 years ago. Yeah. It wasn't that expensive, but if you look for them now, they're like thousands and thousands.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. That kind of thing, because everybody
good purchase.
Yeah, I think a lot of people want to set up this kind of thing, right, and build dream garage, because at the end of the day, that's what this is for me. It was
it's a total
man cave, car storage, whatever you want to call it.
You got a car for me.
Electric go-kart.
Yeah.
You fit in that one?
No, don't worry. But look, no problem. I got loads of leg room.
Little go-kart.
There we go.
Again, many hours have been consumed bombing around the garage in that.
And did you do, this is going to be a very technical question, I don't know how much people will care about this. Did you do all the lighting?
So
or was it like this when you moved in?
When I found this place, this was a milking parlour on a farm.
Okay.
It didn't have a concrete floor, it had no lighting, it was open at the back and the sides.
Yeah.
So this took a lot of time basically to get everything done, to get the concrete floor done, to get all the lighting in, to get all the shutters done, to do all the alarms and security and stuff, and all of that. Took the first 6 to 9 months, and that was a period of like, come on, let's go.
I can imagine.
I want to move in.
And it's not even done yet, because shall we show? Or do you want to go up?
No, we'll go to the other side for sure.
And now,
welcome.
There's more.
Barn 2.
I was completely unaware of this.
So I only recently got the keys, and there's obviously a lot behind us, cars and stuff. But the idea here is to open a connecting wall. That wall is the back of the other side. Not for like a ramp for cars or anything like that, because we're actually at a different height.
Okay.
So the amount of space we would lose to have a ramp on either side just isn't feasible.
Okay.
But the plan is to make this a bit of a workshop. So cars like my Clio V6 and the old Clio over there and some other things, we're going to have a 2-post and a scissor lift right here, so we can do some of that.
Oh,
literally
very
on site.
cool. Okay.
And things actually like the Zenvo, crazy thing, Zenvo don't make a lot of cars. So to service them, it's not like they have service centers in every country.
So they send someone.
They come to you. So if I have a 2-post here, they come and service it at my garage.
That is very cool. How convenient as well.
Like flying doctor.
For you, literally, but for you, or the logistics of, okay, I need to ship this car here to do this service, to do that, to change these tires, to do this.
They're just going to come here.
Could you be able to do something where you could change your own tires here? Because that'd be convenient for you.
Yeah, easily. Easily get a tire change stuff. We have the Benpack lifts. Benpack have kindly sent a whole load of equipment and gear, engine cranes, and the plan is to do a few things. Got to
Yeah.
learn. Maybe not myself. You know, I might get somebody in who has a bit more skills in that
Yeah, yeah.
area than I do. And then a random rally car.
Yes. So I love how we've just
in
casually
the
been
room.
talking, yeah, and then we didn't mention this.
So I apologise for the echo as well, because obviously we've not done anything about that. Rally car. This is from MSRT, like the van. This is something they actually made as a bit of a demo. So it's a show car from a couple of years ago, and they've set it up as a VR sim. So VR headsets,
No way.
screen in the back, full simulator setup.
This is awesome. Is it open?
Yeah, just pop it open.
So you got, okay. So you can go two at the same time.
So technically in the garage, although right now the F1's out, we have an F1 show car and a rally car show car.
Yeah, very cool.
Really cool. And
These two next to each other would be awesome.
They would be actually.
And so you got, oh yeah, you got a full
screen and stuff if you want to spectate what the person's doing.
Very cool. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Random stuff, right? That's what it's all
very
about.
cool. So this is, are you going to have this for a while? Or is it?
Yeah, for a bit.
Okay.
At least a few months. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
And then, funny, the Clio.
You got a chair, a seat here just to look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what the guys have been doing. This is identical to the first car I ever owned.
Okay.
It's not the first car I ever owned, but I
it's
do
same.
own the first car I ever owned. Got
Yeah.
written off, got scrapped, got crushed into a cube. We tracked it down as a cube at the scrapyard. I bought the cube of metal, and I own the lump of metal that was my first ever car.
Very cool.
So I bought a tribute.
Where is the lump of metal?
Dub Customs.
Oh.
And that's Dub's. That belongs to them. We'll get to that. Anyway, so got this, put the same plate on it, actually, that I had. Apparently that's failing.
Yeah.
The same plate that I had on it back on my original one.
Okay.
On here. So,
Very cool.
yeah.
So this was the first
first car I had when I was 17.
and over there you have the first supercar.
First Schmeemobile.
Schmeemobile, yeah.
Then yeah, this T350 belongs to Dub Customs. They're just doing some overhauls of one of the units they have at their site right now, and they wanted somewhere safe to keep this. And I was like,
Yeah, easy.
I've got the space.
Yeah,
We're
clearly.
good.
Yeah, you could fit quite a few more cars here.
Yeah, so
Okay, awesome.
it's exciting.
Mate, it's so cool. Thank you for taking the time to
Absolute
show us
pleasure.
around.
I'm glad you're able to come visit and bring everyone along, because I mean, being here for
Yeah,
a year,
it is so cool. And honestly, as a friend, I know how much this was like a goal for you. So to see you kind of get here is awesome.
It's surreal. It's
Yeah.
completely surreal.
Yeah, and there's a channel for the museum specifically. If you guys want to, go see all of that stuff.
That's
But,
really fun. Bring people behind the scenes of looking after the car collection.
Yeah,
Some of the
yeah.
project builds, even just the maintenance stuff, because I think a lot of people have no idea what it's like looking after 20-something cars.
And I think it's
a lot
many
more to it.
people's dream. It's basically everyone who's watching this.
Yeah, it's my
their
dream.
Yeah, so you want to know the reality behind it so that you can set your goal of what you want to aspire to. I know I see this and I go, shit, I would love to do this one day, but
I
we'll
still
get there.
can't believe it every day. So thanks for coming.
So good to see you. Thank
Likewise.
you, guys. We'll see you soon. And yeah, thanks for watching, as always. Bye-bye.